love. Special Saubana to every single one of you who's in the room. Neha, Funimiri, Purushottam Ramawat, Ranga, Karamjeet, Nalani, Sumit, Rupali, Shaili, hi Shaili, Sparkling Souls Heals, Priyansh, so good to see so many of you here. Fabulous. So what are we discussing today? The topic of love, which I think is always highlighted thanks to all of these different days that we have created to dedicate to love. I'd love to know in the chat box, are you celebrating Valentine's Day? Is that something you do? Do you find it a marketing gimmick? Is it actually a day to celebrate love? Is it only good for the youngsters of the world? Is it Archie's and Hallmark's way of having made money? What's your opinion on Valentine's Day? What is your take on Valentine's Day? I'd love to know in the chat box. Always good to know where all different aspects that people have a perspective on, right? Hey gorgeous, hey Sneha, Saubana, love you goddess Pooja, hi. Thank you so much for support and love and shared deep understanding, ma'am. Thank you, Afo, for that. Divine Feminine Awakening Coach. Hi, Pooja. Hello, sweetheart. Looking gorgeous. Thank you, Momita. All right, let's look at what some of the people have to say. Whatever it is, I just love Valentine. That's so beautiful, Rabia. So good to see you saying that. For me, it's a marketing gimmick, and it is for a lot of people, no doubt about it. Marketing gimmick which people really love. I love that. Yes, that's true. I agree. Sparkling Souls. Ma'am, how to set boundaries? Oh, question mein hi pahunch gayi to seedha. Acha, ruko fir. Little bit I want to speak to you about Valentine's Day. So while, you know what, every religion has concept called celebration built into it. Because one of the things that religion understood was that we have enough reasons to be upset, but not enough reasons to celebrate. So they brought in what we call festivals, right? So festivals were all the places where you had to let go of all the, what do you call that, issues that you were having with your family, with the people around you. You had to forgive and move on and be happy in their surrounding. And that was a great way to, I feel like, reset whatever was going on in someone's family. From buying new clothes, to preparing dishes, to decorating and cleaning the house, to trying to get along with everybody. It was a lovely reset. And I like to use all of this, Valentine's Days, anniversaries, birthdays, Mother's Day, Father's Day, all the marketing gimmicky looking days as reset days. Is there something, it is giving me an occasion or a reason to kind of re-examine, are we on the right place? What is it we need to work with? Now, I always say this, that if a day like this builds your expectation to the level where you will land up fighting, then please treat it like a marketing gimmick, because no profitable company should be able to create a war between you both just because you didn't buy their diamond or their clothes or their cards or their flowers or whatever else that shows up. So I want you to be very careful, because if it just builds expectation in you, then I want you to not look at Valentine's Day as a day that is special. It's better to look at it as any ordinary day, because you're not yet ready for whatever it is that you need to do on that day. But if you can look at these days as reset days, that you know what, let's sit down and look at what is my expectation of you in life. What is your expectation of me in life? And can we look at either managing our disappointments or convincing the other to do what it is that is required? Like, I remember there was a year where Puneet and I's maximum fights used to happen on me desiring to eating out. I love eating out in restaurants. He's a complete homebody. And because of that, every time I would say, take me out, he would be like, you always want to go out. And every time he wouldn't take me out, I would say, you always want to be at home. So that mismatch was a continuous issue in the marriage. Till we sat down and said, okay, this is my expectation, this is yours, right? Now, instead of fighting, can we work a solution out? And he said, how often in a week do you want to go out? I said, once a week just alone with you would be lovely, and once a week with friends. So we made up our mind that Wednesdays will be date nights and Saturdays will be friends night. And I can tell you these 2 days settled all the war that was going on between us for, I don't know, months if I can recollect. I mean, of course, I'm talking about things that happened 20 years ago in my marriage. But I remember very consciously. And then I remember also sitting down and deciding, what do I want my Valentine's Day to look like? What do I want my anniversary to look like? What do I want my birthday to look like? What is my expectation? And then the expectations that he couldn't match, he conveyed to me and said, can you reduce this here? Can you reduce this there? Can we work this out? Okay, so Valentine's is just dinner and a gift under 5,000 rupees. Anniversary is going to be a trip, and it's going to be, let's say, a much bigger gift, a much larger gift than the Valentine's Day. Is that okay for you? Yes, that's perfectly okay. So Valentine's gift is about you being thoughtful, and anniversary is about you removing money from your bank account, right? So like that, we sat and settled all of those things that were creating issues in the wedding or in the marriage, right? So I'd love for you to start to look at what are those things that you need to reconcile to? What are the things that bring disappointment still to you? You know, maybe there is a person in this room who is looking for flowers and card and that thoughtfulness. While the man doesn't have that quality in him, he's not the thoughtful kind. He will be available to you if you need him. If tomorrow you are in some problem, he will be there. But on a general basis, he's not this mushy, cringed type, right? Or lovey-dovey type or the romantic type. Now, if we continuously keep expecting that, can you see how we itself are creating our own suffering? So I feel like it's so important that you start to look at what it is that I need and what is it that I can give to myself. So this Valentine's, I would love for you to go and buy yourself something. I'd love for you to go and do something that you wouldn't normally do for yourself, but you do it for yourself. I want you to go a little extra mile, because I feel like whenever in life there is a need that is not getting fulfilled, we will remain upset about it. How about taking that up as a challenge? So I can tell you there have been years where I have celebrated my own birthday. And I can tell you it has been phenomenal. Now, I've requested my husband to join me, which he very sweetly has. But checking into the Leela hotel, going to the jeweler and picking up a piece for myself, or going to the shop, or whatever it is that I wanted. Maybe I wanted a couple's massage. I just created my own day and invited him. Now, if he came, that's beautiful. If he didn't come, my only job was, how can I get over all of these birthdays and anniversaries and Valentine's Day without fighting with him, without being upset with myself? So to me, I was in reverse gear. Instead of celebrating these things, I needed to make sure we don't land up in a fight. So I want to reset every single person's mind here that if you are having a beautiful Valentine, I'm happy for you, because a lot of people on Instagram are going to post their amazing, gorgeous love life. And you know, once the ones who are not receiving that kind of love, or the ones who are desiring that kind of love, the more they see those couples or those setups, the more invalidated they feel, the less acknowledged and valued they feel. And I think it's so important that we start to value ourselves before anyone else values us. So as a community, Sisterverse, Goddessverse, whichever part of my courses you belong to, I'd love to start the tradition of, you know, I recently heard a concept called Me Moon, which means instead of going on a honeymoon, you go on a me moon, where you spend time with yourself to get to know yourself in self-reflection. So I want to also create me Valentine. So Malentine. Valentine is when you have a Valentine. Malentine is when you celebrate it with yourself. Okay. How many of you are willing to do Malentines this week? Yes. And what are you going to do in Malentines? I want to know in the chat box. Are you going to go on a date? Are you going to go on a massage? Are you going to buy yourself a gift? Are you going to go on a holiday? What are you going to do that's going to make you feel like, you know what? Who says I need to wait for someone else to bring me happiness? Yeah? Who says that I need to be in the hands of my emotions need to be puppets in the hand of somebody else, or my emotions need to be the remote control in someone else's life. I want to take my power back today. Yes? Willing to celebrate Valentine's with me? Super. Then on Valentine's, please wish me Valentine. Okay? Let people get confused. What is this Valentine that pujas? Like the way they get confused about what is this Saubana they keep doing. We are going to start doing Valentines. Love it. Fabulous. All right, let's move into some of the questions. I'd love to take love questions today just because that's the theme, but it doesn't have to be. So let's see what's happening here. Any reason to express love is good. I so agree with you. Yeah. I love it. Yeah, totally. Valentine's, such a beautiful day to celebrate love. Be grateful for abundance of love that we have around us. Totally. For everyone who doesn't have a Valentine, literally you don't have a Valentine, I love to make universe my Valentine. Universe, you send me a gift, that's something that I'm aspiring for. Universe, you make my day lucky. Universe, it's such a wonderful way to just tap into the energy of the universe. Hey, what happened to my filter? Oops, where did it go off? Oh, I've gone into some other... Oh, okay. Now I don't know how to fix it, so let it be. Nothing special for me. Every day should be a Valentine's if you really love your partner. Yes and no. Every day is very hard to focus on that one relationship. I feel like we have so many different aspects in our life that these are great days to focus on, you know. So I don't know if every day works, but yeah, I think every now and then we should be able to work it out. Oh, for all of you who missed meeting me in Changemakers, I'm sending you all of my love. I'm so sorry that I couldn't see you. I really tried my best. In every break, I stood outside that if anybody wanted to come and click a picture, hug, or anything else, I was truly wanting to be available. Sorry. Oops, looks like the AC is getting to me. Flourish with Freedom is saying, earlier I used to ruin my Valentine's Day for not getting gifts, not feeling special. And now that I've left the expectations from my husband, I'm so much more at peace. I'm happy with whatever he does with his awareness. Wow, that shows a evolved person and an evolved journey that you've gone on. Dr. Sneha, after 2 kids, more focus to look after them. Attachment between us has reduced, only irritation and issues we are finding between us. And Sneha, I think that's such an important point because I have seen so many marriages decline just because of the children. And I think that we have to make a special effort that at some point on at least one day of the week, either get his mother's help or get your mother's help and dedicate to the partner. So I would love for you to create some sort of a ritual where you both can start to prioritize each other over the children. Now, if you don't have any support, getting someone to babysit or creating play dates for the children, you have to be innovative on your own, even if it is just letting the children watch a long movie. But I would love for you to dedicate at least 2 hours in every week to really building and connecting with your partner. Now, something that Puneet and I do is every morning gratitude and a quick check-in. What is it you need from me for you to feel loved? Our goals for the day, our itinerary of the day, what time he will be back from work. A general check-in for information, enough information so that I don't feel like I don't know what's going on in his life. So you can either create daily rituals or even weekly rituals work beautifully. Nice to see Avi here most of the time. Oh, how nice to have Avi Arya in the house. Avi, I missed you at Changemakers. I did meet some of your people, so that was lovely and I really hope we get to connect soon. Flourish with freedom, Mona. I love to celebrate love. We do something little extra that day, but I'm at a place where anything is okay now. Thanks, Pooja, for your coaching, which helped me love me more. How beautiful is that, Mona? And I think that's such a beautiful thing when you can acknowledge that whatever it will be the best. You know, to just be able to go with the flow of that I don't have any expectations, but I'd love for the day to be lovely. You know, I don't want to go against Valentine's. I don't want to go for Valentine's. But my ability to just go with the flow, if flowers come, great. If a card comes, great. If a message comes, great. If he just wishes me, it's great. It's like being able to enjoy the present. And that's definitely is a huge gift. And that's somewhere where I have started to move into. Oh, thank you, Avi. Noted, thanks. I'm leaving to 10x my Valentine's and anniversary plans. Both are happening in the next 2 weeks. So is mine. I have my Valentine's and anniversary in the next 3 weeks. And superb. Lovely that you are going to make this very special. Thank you. Thank you, VK Chaudhary. Nice thought. Amazing, Pooja in red. I'm looking for the questions. So, yes, Valentine's for a lot of you. Got it. Let me go right down. We love to celebrate Valentine's Day, but having a preteen daughter, we avoided these days. So, Plentitude, what I'd love for you to do is, I want you to do your Valentine's secretively. Okay, now I don't know how many of you have had an affair when your parents were not okay with it, and you have, instead of celebrating on Valentine's Day, you've celebrated on another day in a different way so that nobody comes to know. I feel like instead of not celebrating it, I would love for you to celebrate it in secret. You know, did you know this? That any affair in secret tends to be a lot more intense than something that is out there in the open. So people who live in joint families and escape for a one-day rendezvous, or for people who want to keep something a secret and they are working through not being caught and all of that, that actually builds a lot. Love actually loves unpredictability. So the more, the more attractive you want to keep your love, you want to keep it unpredictable. The more predictable, let's say my husband sends me flowers every Tuesday. What do you think after 3 months I'm going to enjoy those flowers or what? They're just going to become like, yeah, so what? Correct? It's the unpredictability in love that actually keeps us super excited. So if you have an opportunity to celebrate your Valentine's in secret because you have children that you don't want to expose your whatever situation to, or you feel like they may feel bad, or you feel like you don't want them to feel like they need boyfriends, or whatever your reasons are, I'd love for you to start to celebrate it in secret. So for you, anybody in this room who can't celebrate it publicly, I would love for you to create a secret Valentine ritual. Be bold with Shilpi is asking, Pooja, where do you see in the 1 to 10 for self-love, Pooja? What all do you do daily for yourself? Shilpi, I think I have moved a lot from rituals to just being able to mind my monkey. Okay, so we have a monkey mind that loves to put us down. So every day there are situations that happen in our life that it wants to tell us how either we were wrong or someone else was wrong. And if we can just manage and learn to be more deeply accepting of others, and therefore also more deeply accepting of self, that to me is my greatest ritual. So if I went on stage and let's say I missed a dialogue that I knew was a very powerful dialogue or a joke or something, when I get off stage, can I just let it go instead of hammering myself? Let's say if I wore the dress and I didn't like the way it looked on that particular day, can I just let it go? Now that I've worn it, it's done, it's over with, there's no way I can go back in time. Next time I'll choose a different kind of a style maybe. So can I manage that? Maybe I was not able to listen to enough stories. I mean, there was so much crowd around me. Can I manage that? For me, it is whatever in my life keeps going wrong. My self-love is basically, if I can speak to myself like I would to the person I love most on this planet, can I do that? Can I speak to myself in that manner? We actually either don't have enough self-love or we don't have enough love for others. Either we want to blame the designer, blame the organizer, blame the setup, either we find to put the blame on someone else or we find to put the blame on ourselves. And to me, if I have to really check someone's 1 to 10 self-love, what I like to ask them is how fast can you get over a mistake that you make? And the speed at which, do you take 2 days, 2 hours or 2 minutes? And if you are able to reconcile in your mindset with the things that keep continuously going wrong in our life, whether it is our cook or our husband or our children or our family members, or if we can keep on reconciling quickly and understanding that life is not meant to be perfect, it's not going to be perfect, true or not? So that's how I check my self-love. Of course, the self-love that comes through doing things for yourself is also a lot of fun, which I would keep for Valentine's days and anniversaries, like massages and shopping and all of that. But a general ritual or routine would be to acknowledge that, you know what, I'm trying my best to live my best life. That I don't need to hammer myself. If I got 4 days of exercise in the week and I couldn't get that 5th day, it's okay. You know, I love asking myself, if 10 years were over, and what would be my list of regret? Would it be that I didn't build my flexibility? Would it be that I didn't build my strength? Would it be that I didn't build my bank balance? Would it be that I didn't spend time with my children? And then I put it into my schedule to just start to see, if I don't want to live a life of regret, can I make that extra effort right now so that at that time I don't have to say, I wish I had started 10 years ago. So I actually am living future regret in my present. Okay, so if my future regret is going to be at 50, I'm going to turn 50 in 5 years. So at 50, if I'm going to be saying, you know, I wish I had done yoga twice a week, at least my body would be so much more flexible. Now, when I do my yoga every Tuesday and Thursday, and I'm hating it because I'm not a big fan of exercise itself, I'm telling myself, Pooja, on your 50th birthday, at least you won't say, I wish I had. The only thing you're going to say is, twice a week, kisi tarah karke maine kar liya. Correct? So now it is not how good I am at yoga, how amazing my asanas is, but I'm just thinking on my 50th birthday, at least I won't say, I yet have to start this. Same with spending time with people that I love. I have a whole regret list, and then I have tweaked it to make sure that I don't have that regret. So it's like a future regret that I have brought into my current present. So see if you can use this. If there is a regret you're currently carrying, can you make sure that at least in the next 5 years you don't have that regret? Sparkling Souls is asking, ma'am, how to set boundaries with a toxic mother-in-law who molds whatever I say and present it in a negative manner to my husband. You know what I have realized over the years is that if you do not have a dharma, you'll get stuck in your karma. And let me tell you the difference. Dharma is what we were born to do. Our highest mission, our North Star, our passion, our purpose. And you know what? When we start to focus on all of that, the people in our lives that we owe debt to, we no longer owe that debt to. We can continuously keep doing what we're doing in our mission and our debt gets repaid. Now, people who don't have a purpose in life, people who wake up with no particular purpose, and this purpose just could be being the best mother or running my house in the most amazing, but having a purpose, knowing that this is what I'm waking up every day for, right? For those people who don't have a purpose, they will get stuck in karma. What is karma? Every person in their life will become important, and what they think of me will become very important, and what they are speaking of me to others will become very important. So that person is more important than where I am going in my life. So all of my emotions, my potentials, my intelligence, my faculty, my resources are being used to manage the drama of my life rather than the highest mission of my life. So to me, yes, there is one way that, yes, I can give you many ways of how to set boundaries. I have templates on how I set boundaries, from the sandwich technique to, you know, all of the things that I teach in different sessions of mine. But I am more interested in you finding out that if you really wanted your husband to respect you, and I can tell you today, if anything happens in my joint family, I know my husband carries enough respect for me. He knows me enough today to know that what I would have done and what I wouldn't have done. and he can come and tell me, Pooja, ये थोड़ा तू देख ले और ये जरा मम्मी को संभाल ले इस बात पे, or something like that, because there's a friendship there that we have built not by me trying to handle his mother, but by me being that person who respects herself and the world respects. So I'd love for you to go on a journey today deciding what is it that you can do in your life so that you can stop focusing on the toxic people. You see, the real truth is we can't change toxic people, okay? Fortunately for me, I don't have any in this house, but I know a lot of people who are very, very toxic, and I can imagine the people who are related to them, how uncomfortable they must be. So when I'm seeing you uncomfortable and I'm seeing you wanting to change that with her, I would rather you fix yourself and make yourself so amazing that she automatically backs off. And that's what happens when you have a purpose higher. The drama people of your life will automatically start to dissipate in your energy, okay? Because anything you speak to your husband about his mother is going to hurt him. And if you hurt him, no matter how, it will come back to you in hurt. What we put into our relationship is what we get back. If you hurt him, he's going to bring hurt only back. You want love from him, you're going to have to change your entire strategy, which means you cannot go like this. You're going to have to go like, you know what I mean, right? That ulta way, okay? Anju is asking, ma'am, how to get manifestation, was really getting a lot done through manifestation, but this year not much really. Wanted to come for change makers, but last minute of medical family thing happened and couldn't come. Of course, I can't read much of your question, but I've understood what you're trying to say. And I think, Anju, that's a very important thing to understand, that in your manifestation, you will have seasons. Okay, seasons where everything will blossom like summer, the roses, the flowers, the plants, the fruits, everything. And then you'll have a season which is autumn and winter, which does not look the most attractive. And you'll start to think, oh my God, what am I doing wrong that, you know, that my manifestations are not happening. The real truth is sometimes all there is to it is that you're going through a particular season. Now, this is what I've seen. If I remain positive in winter, my summer is doubly more beautiful. Okay. So I love Michelle Obama saying this sentence where she says, when they go low, I go high. When my manifestations are not happening, instead of giving up on the faith, I start to use this very beautiful sentence, which is, God is not punishing me, He's preparing me. He wants to give me more than even what I want in my manifestation. So He needs to open up my vessel of whatever it is that I need to receive. He needs to reorganize my life to be able to give me so much more. So this delay is actually divine. And when you start to look at delay as divine, instead of your energy falling कि ये हो क्यों नहीं रहा, ये हो क्यों नहीं रहा, ये हो क्यों नहीं रहा. You know, the other day I was taking a relationship session in my course. One of my courses was on relationship, and I was doing a single woman's solo to soulmate kind of a session. And in the end, there were still about 10 of them who had yet not finished asking their questions, and the course time was over. So we ran it for about 4 hours, and I felt so bad that those 10 people couldn't ask their question, that I said, you know what, just set aside 2 hours extra. I'm going to just sit with these 10 people and answer their question. Now, at the time when the class was going on, they were feeling so terrible that our question is not going to get answered. But in the end, they were the ones who felt like, thank God our question didn't get answered, right? And if this is just a small period of time where you can see how a negative turns positive. Now, if you start to examine your life closely, you'll be able to see there have been situations in your life that looked negative to you at that point of time, that you couldn't come for change makers for whatever reason. But in the long run, 2025 may work out so beautifully that you might just say, you know what, I couldn't attend change makers, but because of that, my family gave me permission to go for a 7 days retreat to Sri Lanka. I don't know. I'm just like, you know, opening it up for you that what if this is actually a trigger to a good thing and not a bad thing? What if, you know? And I love looking at all of the life's challenges and problems that I have and ask myself, what could be the good that I can find in this? To be able to create a mindset where every challenge then starts to feel like, no, something good is going to come out of it. I just need to remain patient. You know, when I went to Mexico, there was a shaman there that I met, who gave me the message for me for this year is going to be ask and wait. And it was so profound for me. And, you know, for some of you, this will be amazing. And for some of you, like, what's the big deal? But literally, that's exactly what I've been doing. I've been just speaking to the universe for what it is that I really want. And then taking a step back and saying, now, God, send me the opportunities, the people, the resources, the energy, the strength to be able to live these dreams that I'm having. And I'm just loving the concept of not getting onto the hamster wheel and trying to be that person who's trying to fulfill all the dreams and desires that are coming to me. Rather, I am now partnering with the universe to say, you know what? I'll ask for what I want. Timeline, we will follow yours. So what I want, I will ask for. When I will get it, you will get to decide. So there is absolutely no stress in any of my goals or any of my desires today, because I've just removed all the deadlines and put them in the dustbin and said, you know what? My God or my universe or my, cosmic intelligence knows best when I need to execute these things. Okay, I have a rough timeline, but I don't have a strict timeline. So for anybody here who's not being able to manifest, today the mantra I want to hand over to you is, can you just ask and wait? And if you see any kind of delay, can you start to believe that it is God preparing you and not punishing you? Can you start to believe in your heart that it is actually something that's already walking or working towards you, but it's going to take a little longer, because this is not a fast food burger. This is a Michelin star dish. Got it? Life Coach Kirti, it was so fabulous to meet you and hug you in Changemakers, Pooja. So happy that we got to meet, Kirti. Thank you for every single one of you who came up to me and gave me that tight hug and let me know the difference I'm making in your life. It meant the world to me. Can I tell you, 2025, for me, one of the best days of 2025 is going to be Changemakers, to be having had met the people. On Zoom, we do a lot of work, but we don't realize the kind of impact we've had, or the kind of work we're doing, or the kind of changes, the kind of stories I had people coming and telling me truly touched my heart. So for every single one of you who made that effort to come and speak with me, to come and spend time with me, I just want to give you one extra tight hug and tell you, thank you. Thank you for giving up your break and coming and spending it with me. Valentine's Day, absolutely, Kirti. Shami is saying, you were so cooperative, you kept hugging everyone. I don't even think you went for your tea break. I actually missed all the tea breaks, but what I got was 100 times more than tea. Akshata Tanu, would love to get some core relationship tips. Ooh, I like that. Would love to get some core relationship tips. Well, the basic core relationship tips that I love to give is normally around how we fight. Okay, now how you fight, if you can design a better way of fighting, I feel like that in itself helps the marriage so much. There are these few things that in marriages can create a lot of pain, because it's never a big thing. It's always the little things, the small things. And I always feel like learning to keep respect on top is such a huge thing in a relationship. Can you respect the person more than the argument or the disagreement that you are having? Can you make sure that you're not condescending, that you're not looking down upon the other, that you know that while there are good qualities in the other person, there are bad qualities in the other person, you learn to respect the good qualities and you learn to let go of the bad qualities rather than holding on to the bad qualities so close that you can't see any good qualities. Silent treatment is another thing that we do in our relationships sometimes, which is such a huge punishment for people who are fearing abandonment. So not to do, even if you want to do the silent treatment, if you can let the person know, look, I need 2 hours by myself to just be able to recalibrate whatever it is that we've spoken, and I'm going to come back to you. And then make sure the person who does the silent treatment goes back and lets the other person know, okay, now I'm fine, now I'm willing to talk, right? So how you handle the other person, how many moments are you creating to respond to the person? Let's say if I'm speaking to my dear darling husband and saying, sweetheart, look how beautiful the sunrise is, and he's busy on his newspaper or on his phone and he's not given me the what we call, or Gottman Institute calls it, the bid for connection. So in the day, a husband and wife keep on reaching out to each other for the bid for connection, right? So you could be connecting over something as silly as, can you make the pillow all right? Or it could be a big thing, or it could be just get me a glass of water. These are all bids for connection. Now, some people react negatively. Itne stupid questions mujhse mat pucha kar. All of that, the way you react. So what you've done, you've taken the bid and made it negative. Some people do not respond to the bid. Okay, so what do they do? Haan, theek hai. And there's no response. And some people will leave the iPad, come stand next to the spouse and say, oh my God, the sunrise is actually gorgeous today. Have you noticed these orange rays are going into the clouds and literally the sky is looking orange today? What have they done? They've made the bid for connection super positive. So how you treat one another when there is these bids of connection actually decide a lot after what the quality of your marriage is. So if I had to give one tip or one homework to everybody who's listening today, I would love to say, this week, when you are, for anybody, when you see a bid for connection from your children, from your spouse, from your family members, I'd love for you to put away whatever it is, take a moment and actually connect on that bid, and then come back to doing whatever you want. Nobody's telling you have to stop doing it, right? Now, let's say you're in the middle of something severe. I'm in the middle of doing this session. If my husband or children want to connect with me right now, it won't be possible. So what will I tell them? I will give them a time to connect. So I'll say 10 to 11 is my Insta live, so I won't be able to come with you to office today. But at 11 sharp, you know what, I'll give you a call and let's meet for coffee in so-and-so place, right? So what am I doing? I'm ensuring that if I can't respond to the bid right now, the other person knows that I'm interested in responding to the bid. And to me, I have seen every relationship of mine has improved because whenever somebody makes a bid for connection with me, at least at a conscious level, I try to ensure that I'm responding. Now, it's not necessary that I'm doing a fabulous job of it. I'm pretty sure there are some people I need to work better with. Having said that, the fact that I'm trying my best keeps me in my self-love. Sita, rather than expecting gifts, why not we buy some gifts for our partner and surprise them? And I think if that works for you, why not? You know, what I am a big believer of is a lot of times what I've seen women do, and I'm not talking about you here, but in general, is that to receive love, we start to give more love, thinking that maybe if I give more love, I will receive love. Not realizing that it's not necessary that someone will respond to your bid. So for a long time, Sita, I had actually thought of that, you know, if I buy Puneet gifts and I do the flowers and I organize the cake and I take him out for dinner and then maybe he will give me something back. But I recently read something which was so interesting. It was the difference between a dog and a cat. That when you love a dog, the dog feels you are God. When you love a cat, the cat starts to believe it is God. That is why you are loving it. Okay. So I feel like a lot of time when we love the man a lot, what he starts to believe is he's worthy of that love. He's worthy of that gift. He's worthy of. So for me, I want you to just remain slightly careful while, please, I love the idea of you giving gifts to your partner. If you're giving gifts to your partner to receive in return, then do not give. If you're giving gifts to your partner, like I remember there was this lady I met who was going to give 50 gifts to her husband for 50 days before his 50th birthday. And he was so stressed out because he's like, there's no way now I will be able to match her expectations. It was her 50th birthday a month after. And he said, now this is going to lead me into a downward spiral dustbin because I know this is not going to end well. One, because I will not be able to receive the gifts at the level of joy she will want me to receive. I will not be able to return this level of favor to her. So no matter what I do for her, she's not going to be able to, I'm not going to be able to match it because her thoughtfulness compared to mine is 100 times more. And I could see that she had actually set herself up for disaster. So that's why you have to just be a little careful. But if your love language is gifts, then this will work like magic. Okay, let me go right to the bottom and see what's happening there. Thank you. Oh, so sweet. You're so energetic. Love your vibe. Saubana. I love the way you talk and explain. I'm just enjoying all the compliments. Thank you all. Malik, Dr. Seema, how to handle social media negative comments and also trolling? Seema, one of the things that I understood very early in my journey is that you can either be worried about what other people think of you, or you can laugh your way to the bank. Okay, so anybody who wants to eventually become super successful or super with success, fame may come, will have to learn to handle the backlash of social media. So very early in my journey, one of the things I started to do was whenever I got a negative comment or an ugly comment or a vulgar comment, that day I would tell Puneet, come on, I used to say champagne, but you can also do it over coffee. I was like, come, let's open some coffee and have some coffee and celebrate to the fact that to every one person that's going to hate me, I'm going to get 100 lovers. And that was the equation that I had made in my head. So, sorry if there are any Rameshes on the room, but I used to say Ramesh 1, 2, 3, 4 sitting in Panwar Gadi is not going to be able to scare me away from my mission. He's a coward. He doesn't have the courage to say all of that to my face, but he can say anything he likes on open social media. Now, by the grace of God, we have what we call the Brahmastra. What is the Brahm? Not actually grace of God, grace of Mark Zuckerberg and all of the people who built all these platforms. There is something called delete block report. So you can delete any message that comes on your page that you don't want others reading. You can delete that message. You can block this person. So this person from their current account or any other future accounts can never be able to see your page. And if the message is really horrible, then you can even report it. So start using the Brahmastra to your advantage, but don't spend too much time. You know, it's like, imagine if you were going in a car and there were dogs barking. Would you stop the car, get out of the car and tell the dogs, quiet? And then you would say, no, I'm not going to my destination till these dogs don't stop barking. Would you do that? No. What would you do? You just take your car a little faster and get out of that area where the dogs are barking. True or not? I want you to do the same thing, sweetheart. I want you to consider all of this trolling and dirty comments and negative social media stuff as dogs barking. Now, you don't have time to focus on them. Your destination is so important to you that all of this will come. The first few times this comes, it will shock you, sadden you, depress you, upset you. I've gone through all of it. You know, I remember one really ugly message somebody put for my parents. So in my head, I'm thinking, say what you want to me. Don't say anything to my parents. But then I'm thinking, oh, now I'm giving them power by telling them that, you know, don't say anything to my parents. Please say to whoever you want. My parents are stronger than me. They will read that message, laugh and say, Pooja, tu bas karte rahe to tu karti hai. So my parents are mind-blowing. So they are not going to get scared. They're not going to let me get scared. So to every single one of you, don't ever put any conditions with dogs. That, you know, only if they are freaking dogs. And I don't mean I love dogs. So dogs is something I love. I'm only giving this analogy in the terms of how to handle and how to think towards all of the kachra that's going to come your way. And if at one point you can start to celebrate the kachra and start to go, you know what? Kachra is the only way up. Kachra comes as the part of the parcel. That if 90 people love me, 10 people will hate me. And for me to receive the love of 90, of course there'll be people in the world who say Shah Rukh Khan can't act. Shah Rukh Khan is just so cringe. Shah Rukh Khan romantic hero. Shah Rukh Khan this. And then there are people like me who think Shah Rukh Khan is amazing, right? So it all depends on, everybody will have somebody that they're not. But Shah Rukh Khan has more people that like him than dislike him. So therefore his success is done. Same you have to start to believe, Seema. Okay? Pooja, Nitya, my in-laws are amazing. They give me a lot of support in raising my child. This is Khushbu asking my work, my life coaching, my business, everything. But in occasions, they always like me to wear a sari. Yeah. So Khushbu, I would love for you to make up your mind. What is it that you are willing to give back to them? You are saying they are amazing, right? Now, there will be something you will also have to do, that you don't want to do so that you can keep them on your side. If sari wearing is all that they are demanding, then my suggestion is wear it, na. The world we live in, we've been taught that we are not supposed to tolerate, compromise, adjust at all. I always say tolerate, compromise and adjust. If you're the only one doing it in the relationship, please don't do it. But any relationship or any good relationship is a marriage of what are you willing to do for the other that you actually don't feel like versus what are they willing to do for you that they don't feel like. Maybe my husband doesn't want to go every Wednesday and eat outside food, but he does it because he loves me. Now, when he does that for me and he expects me that every Wednesday then I should dress up and look awesome, then I should do that for him, right? So your in-laws are giving you enough for you to be able to say, एक साड़ी तो पहनने के लिए कह रहे हैं, उनकी खुशी के लिए मैं ये कर लूंगी, अपने पेरेंट्स के लिए नहीं करते हम ये सब, तो उनके लिए भी कर लूंगी. And that's how I want you to start to think, मेरी जान. Don't look at it as forced. Look at it as something that you are giving back to them for all that they do for you. Okay? I feel like you have to start to understand that in this world, love has to be exchanged, right? So can you exchange it for something? And if you truly don't want to wear a sari, don't wear it. But then also don't expect their support, don't expect their love, don't expect... If you can go without expecting anything from them, then this barter is not working out for you any which ways. So sometimes there are in some relationships where I think that what they're asking me for is a non-negotiable. Okay? A non-negotiable, it doesn't matter what you are giving me, I can't give you this in return. If this is what you want, then I'd rather not you give me anything. You know? Kiran Pradeep, I make efforts till that time it works, but then I leave it and it starts to be the same relationship again. And then I feel tired of always trying for a better relationship. How to balance? So, one of the things I know about life is that there is always someone who's the initiator and someone who will make it for that thing. So, sometimes I feel like we live in a world where we expect that everybody should be the initiator. But that's not how the world works. I have friends who call me. When they call me, I talk for hours. But I don't have the time to call them. Or that is not something that I have put in my priority list. Now, if they call me, I will love them. Okay? But if they don't call me, I may or may not call them. Doesn't mean my love is lesser than theirs. If they ever need me, I may land up doing 10 times more for them than they'll ever land up doing for me. Having said that, I am not an initiator. Okay? Now, each person in a friends group is playing a different role. Somebody is the fun person. The one who's always asking for the parties or for having fun. One is the mother hen. She always is having her eyes on looking after and making sure everyone is safe when they are traveling, when they are together. She'll do the bookings to the restaurant. She'll do this, she'll do that. One is the initiator, the one who makes the plans always. Now, if every single person starts to look at their role and go, only I am doing this. Always I only have to be the mother hen. Always I only have to be the fun person. Always I only have to drag everybody to the dance floor. Then what will happen is that you will be left waiting because this is your excellent quality. A lot of times what we do is we kill our excellent quality because nobody else has the same excellent quality. It's like a friend of mine, I remember, had invited me to her house and she had made 15 dishes, okay? Herself, like she had cooked the whole day. Now, the day she had to go, like we are a group of 3 friends. So, when we went to the other one's friend, she just ordered Domino's pizzas, okay? Now, when this friend came home, she said, you know, when I invited her, I made 15 dishes. When we went to her house, she'd ordered Domino's pizzas. I'm feeling so undervalued. But then what I realized was that the lady who ordered Domino's Pizza didn't even know how to cook. What she did instead was she made the evening so interesting. She had created some kind of an art thing that all three of us had to do together. We had so much fun. What she didn't do was put any effort on the food because food was not her jam, right? Food was not where she... Now, what we are good at, we expect others to do. What we are not good at, we say, usme kya hai? You know? So to her, it was कि उसने 15 dishes बनाई, उसका दिल था. हमने तो नहीं बोला था उसको 15 dishes बनाने के लिए. Can you see how in the world we start to have expectations to whatever our good qualities is? Rather, we should reverse it. Because I am so good at, let's say, coaching people, whenever a friend will come and hang out with me, she'll go away feeling more peace, more love, more this. Now, if I go and spend time with another friend who's really good at making plans, she's not good at talking, but she's very good at making plans. And I start to go, when she sits with me, I to listen to her for an hour. When I sit with her, she's always wanting to only make plans. It'll go wrong. समझ लग गई ना मैं क्या समझाने की कोशिश कर रही हूँ? Nariyat is asking, what if trolling is done by someone known rather than unknown? How to handle that? Block them also. Can I tell you something? On your way up, people are going to have judgments. How are you going to escape judgments? So I came up with this very nice word that I used to tell myself, which was called sweet revenge. You know what is sweet revenge? Sweet revenge is when your success speaks louder than you. Now, if I sit down with someone and try to justify, explain what I do, how I do it, why life coaching will run in India someday, that I'm worthy of being paid for what I have to say, blah, 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 blah. This person is only going to use that as ammunition and build more of a case for themselves, because right now I don't have the success to prove what I'm saying. It's all their imagination versus my imagination. They are saying, what if it doesn't work? I'm saying, what if it does work? But it's a fight of imagination. Imagination cannot win. Correct or no? So I just have to wait it out. Ask and wait patiently. So what I have done in my life is all the people who used to back in 2010, 2011 think कि ये क्या समझती अपने आप को advice देने चली है दुनिया को जो भी मतलब whatever people must have thought at that point. And I had so many people thinking so many things because life coach was not even an industry that existed in India at that point. Today these are the same people who come and tell me that, you know what, Pooja, we always knew it was there in you. We are so proud of what you do. And when I hear that sentence, I know in my head what they have said about me in 2010, 2011, 2012. But you know what? Sweet revenge is so wonderful that it works both ways. One, they start to believe in you at some point and they release the judgment at some point because they didn't know you enough. Secondly, you release all their judgment on them because you've grown so big that you can't keep the heart petty and become such a big person. So your pettiness falls because you go, you know what? Unki soch thi, unka belief tha, chodo na. Who has time, right? And they start to go, oh my God, maybe, you know, I have a friend who was extremely close to me and just didn't believe in my work and thought that this whole thing is just a scam of some kind and everything. Recently, when I met her, she said, I'm so sorry, Pooja, that I never understood your work. I literally thought what you were doing was crazy, but now I see your impact. I see what you're doing on Instagram, on Changemakers and this and that. And she had such a different opinion. And you know what? It felt so good and it felt so genuine. And now that I've taken my sweet revenge to another level. So earlier it used to be sweet revenge. Now it is that beyond that, what if I can help the same person who spoke against me? I said, you know what, instead of killing them with hatred, I want to kill them with sharmindagi. I don't know, what is sharmindagi in English? Like, itna sharminda kar do us person ko, itni madad kar do usko, itna pyar de do usko, ki usko lage, hai, kash maine iske baare mein kabhi galat socha hi nahi hota. You know, how fabulous would that be? Steffi Wilson, happy Valentine's Day, Pooja. I have become a better person because I joined your course in 2021. Onwards and upwards from there. How sweet. Thank you, sweetheart. Manju Charan, how can I be a life coach? Can you please explain the step-by-step process? Manju, don't wait for too long. I am doing a 2 full-day program this 15th and 16th of February, Saturday, Sunday, 9 to 6, 9 to 6. If you are available, get in touch with my team, make the payment and Aaja Meri Jaan, because I'm going to give you 2 fabulous days of why should I cover something in 15 minutes that I have 2 days of knowledge to give you. Okay, Meri? Sweetheart, so see if you can join the 2 days, 15th and 16th of February. I'd love to have you there. Okay, let's go right to the bottom. Kill them with kindness. Love that. Yes. Shalini is asking, how to love your parents when they irritate us and control us. So cute. So Shalini, I have a feeling that, you know what, parents' intentions mostly are good. They just don't know how to manage. So we have to keep getting stronger and stronger on our own journey so that we can start to make our decisions without them playing a role. Now, if you are under your parents financially, in the same house, in every other way, then for you to be able to get out of all of that will be very hard. But if you are able to, I like to keep myself a little guilty towards the people I love, that if they've asked me for something and I'm not able to give it, I won't give that they've asked me for, because I'm very sure of what I want to do in my life. But in return, I'll be very nice in everything else. Okay? So people who listen or are too obedient to the person, then what happens is we become bitter and resentful. If you are feeling bitter and resentful towards anybody, it is because you're prioritizing them over your own needs and energies. I like to keep myself guilty and in love. What does that mean? That, okay, let's say my mother said that I want to go out for lunch and I already have a kitty that I'm going for. I'm just giving a random example. Then I'll tell her, Mom, that's not possible, but I know you've been wanting to go to the Dash restaurant. Is Saturday, chalo, aapar mein chalte. What have I done? I've handled her also. I've handled myself also. Now, God forbid, I would have cancelled my kitty and gone. Can you see what kind of mood would I have gone on that lunch for? Now, she may be upset with me that, you know what, आज क्यों नहीं लेकर गई? मुझे तो आज जाना था, सैटरडे को तो मेरा खुद का अपना प्लान है, मैं आज ही फ्री थी, आज तो तू तो वही करती है जो तुझे करना है. Let's say, I'm just giving, all this is hypothetical. My mom's really cute, she never will say all these things, but I'm just generally saying that let's say I'm in that situation where, then you know what, that little guilt is, अच्छा नहीं कुछ नहीं होता, आप सैटरडे पे नहीं आ सकते ना, आप वरी मत करो, हम एक अच्छा सा प्लान बनाते हैं वेडनेसडे के लिए. And then I will take the initiative because I am interested, okay? So my parents or all of our relationships want to feel valued, okay? When we overgive, let's say my mother-in-law is having a kitty and she wants me to come and attend it and I can't. I'll say, Mummy, मैं आपके लिए 2 salad और एक dessert भेज रही हूँ. I'm not saying that can replace me, but at least she knows that it's not out of spite that I'm not coming. It is just that I really genuinely can't come. And what I've seen is when you genuinely keep doing for others whatever it is that you can do, even if you can't do what they expect from you, after a while a very clean boundary gets set where they start to understand that she loves me, but she also has a life of her own. And to me, that love and respect combination is so important. This is something I don't only communicate to my parents or to my thing, I communicate it to my children itself. My children know I'm a working woman. They know that mom will prioritize us 100% of the time if required. But if not required, she's not going to. So if my son needs something from me, he may have to say, Mom, this is what I need. And then I'll have to tell him, okay, sweetheart, I can see we need to have this conversation. Let's connect at 7 o'clock today evening and let's actually spend an hour seeing how we can figure this out. Now, I may not have been able to take his call at the time when he was calling me. It's possible. What am I doing? I'm teaching them to respect me just the way I want to love them. That love and respect का combo जो होता है ना, वो एक perpetual combo होता है. And मुझे लगता है as women in India, we've been culturally conditioned to forego what we want for other people to get from us what they want. And that's what makes us bitter, resentful, negative, sad, depressed, because we forgot to prioritize that soul that is living inside of us. है ना? Oh God, 11:01 हो भी गए. चलो 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 जल्दी से photos लेते हैं. Oh, Valentine's वाली photo. कौन सा पोज अच्छा है? मोमिता इतनी क्यूट है. 11 तक रुकते हैं ना. चलो ठीक है मोमिता, अब जब आपने मांग लिया तो 11 तक रुकते हैं. लेट्स डू 11 पे एक लवली प्रेयर अराउंड लव, है ना? डन डन डन. जिसको जाना है जा सकता है और फिर जिसको रुकना है रुक सकता है. लेट्स मेक श्योर टुडे वी गेट our Valentine's prayer. We will create a nice Valentine's prayer, which is first learning to love ourselves enough that we feel deserving of receiving the love of the others. ठीक है, ऐसे कर लें? Okay, super. Done हो गया. Thank you for asking. तब तक एक डाउट और क्वेश्चन ही ले लेती हूं. Raj Soni, water whiz is too pure, had no fish. So sometimes I feel I should be a little shrewd and a little clever. What do you suggest? I wish I could understand that sentence. Water whiz is too pure and had no fish. Let me give you my take on being shrewd and being clever any which ways, and then see if it answers your question. Shrewd and clever has built in a system where it's called the win-lose strategy. For anybody to be shrewd and clever, you are basically saying, I win, the other person loses, right? Now, what I would love for you to start to do is, instead of being shrewd and clever, be inspiring and influencing. Which means you still want to get your way done, but the win-win should be what should be in your mind. The win-win people in the world win the war. The shrewd and clever people win the battle. What do I mean? I can be smart and clever with you once and make sure that I gain more profit than you do in whatever we are doing together. The next time you will be extremely careful to work with me, because you will be like, you know what, last time I lost money, she made money. With her, I have to be a little careful. So I will lose what I call the relationship for that little gain of trying to be shrewd and clever. But if I had made sure that you win more than me the first time around, and the second time around we win equally, and the third time around you yourself will say, you know what, this time you take the extra profit that has come. Can you imagine a world where we work with inspiration and influence rather than being shrewd and clever? For me, whenever I'm working with anybody, whenever I'm doing business, whenever I have a client, my thought is, to the amount that they have paid me, they must get more than what they've paid me. Okay? I don't give discounts. I don't believe in short selling myself. I don't believe in making it. But what I do believe in is that this person should go away feeling like they got more than what they paid for. In any interaction of mine, whether it is you're coming home for my lunch, or if you're giving me your time, have I been able to make sure that you get more than whatever you expected for that you are giving me? If we can start to live in a world where, now what happens to people who are inspiring and influencing versus shrewd and clever is that inspiring and influencing people will also meet shrewd and clever people, and every now and then somebody will cheat them, somebody will take advantage of them, somebody will make a fool of them, whatever you want to call it, right? So that happens to me also. Somebody or the other every now and then will land up taking advantage of my goodness. This is the time when I look up to God and I say, God, don't change me for the one bad person. Let me and allow me to build my strength that every now and then let someone take me for granted. It's okay. In return, you give me 10 times more. So I believe my luck is actually it is a combination of all the things that God owes me because of what human beings have done to me. So that's just my way of looking at life. So whenever somebody lands up cheating me or dissing me, I don't get too upset. I just look up at God and go, you know, God, it's your job to now repay me 10 times. Now God says, okay, either I can punish that person for you or I can repay you. What do you want? I say the punishment of that person will be the repayment that I will get 10 times. Okay, so let them watch me and die of jealousy. I don't need to punish anybody. I have no time for revenge, the real revenge. I don't want, you give me so much that it turns into a revenge for the other. How many of you are starting to understand how to handle shrewd and clever? So the next time you want to be shrewd and clever, remember you are having a very micro energy towards life. You're not understanding the macro. For that moment, you will feel like you won. But in life, you can never win as a shrewd and clever person. You look at the outcomes of shrewd and clever people, nobody trusts them. Today, the currency of business is trust. The currency of money is trust. You, without building trust, are thinking you can make it. You're going to need more and more people to backstab. Eventually, what will be your reputation? What will happen to your children's reputation? You know, the ancestors, our ancestors are the roots of the trees, of the branches that we have flowers and fruits of. What we leave, you are going to leave poison for your people who will inherit your business, because when you will die, people will only have bad things to say about you. And imagine your children having to be living in a world where people have to continuously not trust them because their parents were not trustworthy. Can you see how everything can go wrong? So I would love for you from today onwards to start to have the strategy of you win, I win. You don't have the heart to make someone else win before you win. Win together. But never in your life do anything where somebody loses and you win. That's not how you want to operate. Okay? Awesome. What days? We conduct all our Insta lives on Wednesdays, but the time is not set. It is either 10 to 11 in the morning or normally 4 to 5 in the evening, or sometimes if I'm traveling, it can be any time. Oh, you meant water which is too pure has no fish. Without choosing also, as human beings, nobody can be 100% pure. So if you're thinking you can be that level of water which is very pure, I feel like 99% of the time when you meet someone and they look very pure, it is because you don't know their whole story. You find out their whole story, you will realize behind every Swami there was an Angulimal. If you know the Angulimal Swami story. So then just know, in the world we live on an earth which is called the opposites. We live on the plane of opposites, which means for every single human being that says I'm kind, at some point in their life they've been cruel. For every single person who says I don't ever lie, please know that their honesty comes at the expense of lies. So there's no human being can say I'm only good, I'm only kind, I'm only nice, I'm only lovely, I'm only generous, I'm only sweet, I'm only compassionate. No, because our mind has no choice but to live in the duality of knowing that we have to judge to be able to operate in life. And judgment needs to be on both sides. This is good, this is bad, this is bad, this is good, this is correct for me, this is wrong for me. We cannot have one-way judgment. So therefore, anybody who claims to be pure as human being is just not giving you the whole picture. So don't ever come into the jhasa of these fake Panditjis or Gurujis or fathers or all the people who now at this point in the world are pretending to be pure. There's no concept called pure. Yes, every single day you will have choices to make. You make better choices. You become what we call an evolved human being. An evolved human being also has the same thoughts as an unevolved human being. Unevolved human being takes action on their bad thoughts. An evolved human being steps back from their bad thoughts. बस उतना ही फर्क है. All right, 11:11 is here. Let's say a quick prayer. Everybody just take a deep breath. Close your eyes. And just feel the love in your body and let the love expand. Notice yourself and your love traveling all through your body. Every single cell that it touches puts a smile on that cell. See if you can have a huge smile on your face, knowing that the journey ahead is going to be beautiful. That no matter what you go through, at no point will you desert yourself. Will you let yourself go? You are going to love yourself day in, day out. Every single day you are going to say a prayer at night, reminding yourself that you have been gifted this human that you have to look after. And that every single day you have to look after this human in your bestest, most highest capacity. See yourself loving yourself through all the outcomes or all the situations that don't feel so loving. See yourself guiding yourself. See yourself forgiving yourself. There's a lovely prayer that says, I forgive you, I am sorry, or rather it's actually, please forgive me, I am sorry, I love you, thank you so much. And if you can repeat this to yourself, these 4 sentences again and again and again, that is such a wonderful way to live your life. Let's say it together. Please forgive me, I am sorry, I love you, thank you so much. And say this again and again. For those of you who know, it's a Hawaiian prayer which actually releases you of any kind of negativity that you're carrying in your own body for yourself or for anyone else. You can say it towards someone else or you can say it for yourself. Ho'oponopono, how do you call it? Ho'oponopono? Okay. Ho'oponopono is so beautiful. If you haven't ever heard of it, go. I would love for you to Google it, study it. It is such a lovely way to release any negativity from your body and just become one ball of love so that you can truly love people at a level where all judgments fall. I think an evolved person and a non-evolved person, the biggest difference is in judgment. The lesser evolved you are, the more judgmental you are. The more evolved you are, you still have the same judgments. But you know, you have the power or the ability to say, they are also human beings. They are also trying their best. God created them. God will look after them. Who the hell am I to all the time keep trying to fix other people? I've really stopped trying to fix people. I'm really now on a journey to really want to deeply accept people for who they are. And if you want to join me on this same mission, same thing, then this week, that's what I'd love for you to practice. On that note, now I'm going to run. So love you all so much. Tata. Bye-bye.